Welcome to our channel LPBW Update. Today we sharing very heartbreaking update for Little People Big World fans. There have been rumors for a long time that Marek and Amy Roloff are getting divorced. Finally, rumor is true. Marek and Amy Roloff were officially divorced, and Marek is set to marry his private fiancée. I will provide a main comprehensive explanation. Amy Roloff and Marek's wedding on the farm was a fairy tale moment. It was a man who appeared to comprehend her, to venerate her, and to provide her with the uncomplicated, steadfast love she had long desired. A testament to the notion that it is never too late to discover love. We were all convinced that their story would end happily. However, a narrative that was far from the meticulously curated smiles and heartwarming scenes that graced our television screens was unfolding. A narrative of betrayal, secrets, and a love that was not as it appeared. The fairy tale has reached its conclusion today. We are pleased to inform you that Amy Roloff and Marek have finalized their divorce today. The Little People Big World fan base has been left in a state of disbelief by the news. How is this possible? How did things turn out so badly? The most startling query of all, the one that alters everything is, who is the other woman? The narrative does not conclude with a tranquil separation, ending with Marek, the man who promised to adore Amy forever as he prepares to marry his secret fiancée. This is not the narrative you have been presented with. Amy herself, the admirers, and the cameras were all unaware of this narrative for an excessively extended period. This is the full, unreported narrative of the dissolution of Amy Roloff and Marek's marriage. Additionally, it is a narrative that will prompt you to reevaluate all of your preconceived notions. In order to comprehend the conclusion, it is necessary to revisit the inception, not the commencement of their love tale, but rather the commencement of its conclusion. Their nuptials in August 2021 was a triumph in the eyes of the outside world. However, sources who are intimately acquainted with the couple and who have requested anonymity in order to safeguard their relationships, provide a different account. According to them, the fractures manifested almost immediately following the exchange of oaths. The farm was the initial significant fracture point. Roloff Farms was not merely a plot of land for Amy. For 3 decades, it served as her residence. She reared her children in this location, which served as the backdrop to her entire existence. It was a significant emotional sacrifice to depart. She made a sacrifice for to begin their new existence together. Amy relinquished a significant portion of her identity when she sold her share of the farm and relocated, according to a friend. She was genuinely convinced that it marked the beginning of a new, mutually beneficial partnership. Articulated all the appropriate sentiments. We will construct our own memories. This is our journey. However, upon reflection, it appears to be less of a shared excursion and more of the initial phase of her isolation from her surroundings. Even though is a wealthy real estate agent and lives a completely different life from the Roloffs, he often seemed uncomfortable with Amy's past, the cameras, the fans, and most of all, the shadow of her ex-husband, Matt Roloff. Their interactions were frequently depicted as amicably uncomfortable on camera. However, the tension was significantly more intense behind the scenes. According to sources, became increasingly weary of Matt's involvement in their affairs. The farm remained a central point of gravity for the family, even after they relocated. Matt was perpetually present. It was shared by a friend, and was not fond of it. He was furious that Matt was still involved in every family event and decision regarding the children. He felt as though he was perpetually being compared to him, as if he were living in his shadow. He would express his dissatisfaction to Amy. Is he destined to remain the third individual in our marriage? Amy was confronted with an impossible situation. What is the process for eliminating the father of your children? Subtle manifestations of this resentment emerged. Would frequently recommend activities or excursions that would require Amy to depart from her family, portraying them as amorous escapes. However, peers now perceive an alternative motivation. According to an acquaintance, the separation was gradual and methodical. He was separating her from her support system, her children, and her grandchildren for a weekend or a week. Amy, who was so in love and so anxious to make this marriage work, agreed to it. She did not perceive it as being drawn away. She perceived it as the establishment of a lifelong relationship with him. The Secret Life of Chris Marek. Allegedly, Chris was leading a double life while Amy was dedicating her heart and soul to establishing a new existence with him. In order to comprehend the betrayal, it is necessary to distinguish between the man Amy believed she had married and the man who existed when the cameras were turned off. Chris Marek was consistently depicted as a straightforward, easygoing individual, a real estate agent, a motorcycle devotee, and an individual who was entirely unconnected to the reality TV industry. Additionally, this was a significant component of his appeal. Our investigation revealed that this persona of a typical man was a meticulously crafted facade. Chris's flourishing real estate career also afforded him something essential for his private life: plausible deniability and freedom. Chris is a charming individual. He is an exceptional agent because he has the ability to sell anything to anyone. He maintained complete autonomy regarding his schedule, which included appointments with clients, property inspections, and listing inquiries. These are statements that can be made at any hour of the day or night, and they are not subject to scrutiny. It provides you with hours of unaccounted-for time. One source stated, "We have always believed that he was a workaholic." The hours that Chris was purportedly cultivating an additional relationship were unaccounted for. Our sources have verified the identity of the other woman. However, we are refraining from disclosing her name at this time in order to protect her privacy. We can inform you that this was not a recent affair. We have discovered that their relationship predates Chris's marriage to Amy. According to an acquaintance, it is the ultimate act of betrayal. Amy maintains that their relationship from their initial date was entirely fake. This additional woman was perpetually present in the background. He was in her company prior to proposing to Amy. He maintained communication with her during their engagement and maintained the affair throughout their marriage. The covert companion, Sarah, as we shall refer to her in this narrative, was not publicly seen. She was a longtime acquaintance from Chris's existence prior to Amy, an individual who comprehended his surroundings despite the absence of the roll-off gaze. The affair was purportedly reignited in the months preceding Amy and Chris's nuptials. He initiated a conversation regarding an acquaintance with whom he was re-establishing contact. It all appeared to be innocent, a casual lunch to reconnect. However, the frequency of the contacts increased. Meetings with clients were conducted at increasingly later times. He was considerably more circumspect regarding his mobile device, small details that you observe but fail to comprehend until after the fact. It was a masterful deception. Chris purportedly utilized disposable phones and established distinct email accounts to correspond with Sarah. He would frequently meet her in towns and cities where he was unknown, often under the pretense of conducting real estate reconnaissance excursions. He was leading two distinct lives, and Amy was unknowingly portraying one of them to the world. For Amy, the indicators were evident. However, she was deceived by her love and optimism. She had invested so much in this second chance that the mere thought of it being an untruth was too agonizing. However, the truth has a way of leaking out. A seemingly benign conversation regarding finances was the catalyst for the initial thread to unravel. According to an acquaintance, it is customary for Amy and Chris to maintain certain financial assets in separate accounts. However, Amy began to observe unusual charges on their shared credit card statements, including dinners at restaurants she had never visited and charges from stores in locations they had never both visited. Chris consistently responded with a plausible explanation whenever she inquired. It was a client supper. I was obligated to purchase a closing gift. It is likely that the charge is fraudulent. I will contact the bank. He consistently maintained an advantage. However, the justifications began to become increasingly inadequate. The emotional distance between them increased. Chris became increasingly critical of Amy, frequently engaging in arguments over trivial matters. In retrospect, peers contend that this was a conventional strategy, as it served to establish a psychological barrier and rationalize his actions in his own mind. He would cause her to believe that she was the issue. He would accuse her of being overly sensitive, fixated on the past, or incapable of making a concerted effort to establish their existence. He was causing her to question her own perceptions by gaslighting her. She experienced an increasing sense of insecurity in the marriage, and that was precisely his objective. It prevented her from gazing at him excessively. The moment the facade eventually shattered, not from a credit card statement, was the result of a misplaced phone. Chris possessed two phones, his primary device and an ancient model that he purportedly maintained as a spare. He inadvertently left the secondary phone at home one evening while he was out for a late meeting. The screen was illuminated by a message notification. Amy's attention was drawn to the name on the screen rather than the content of the message. Sarah was the individual in question. As curiosity evolved into suspicion, suspicion evolved into a nauseating foreboding. Amy opened the phone with quivering palms. It was not password protected. It was a gateway to a life she was unaware existed. A friend stated she observed every message for months or years. Pictures of them together, plans for covert meetings, and texts that are replete with, "I love you and I miss you." There were even discussions regarding their future, which did not include Amy. He had assured this other woman that his marriage was merely a transient circumstance, a phase that he would eventually pass through. At that instant, Amy Roloff's world literally crumbled. The man she adored, the life she had meticulously constructed, and the future she had envisioned were all fabrications. The divorce and the confrontation. Amy was anticipating Chris's arrival at his residence that evening. There was no shrieking or shouting, only a cold, agonizing silence. She presented him with the phone. No further justifications or fabrications were required. The game had concluded. He did not even attempt to refute it at first, according to a friend. He collapsed under the weight of the trauma of being apprehended. He later attempted to justify the situation by claiming that it was an error, that he adored Amy, and that it was merely an emotional affair. However, the evidence was irrefutable. It was a comprehensive, long-term relationship. Amy was unable to reverse her course. The trust was not merely shattered, it was completely destroyed. The betrayal was excessively calculated and profound. She had previously experienced a public divorce and had endeavored to preserve her dignity. She would repeat the process. The divorce proceedings were conducted in a discreet and expeditious manner. Amy was adamant about avoiding another public spectacle and insisted on mediation. She desired to end the relationship, divide the assets, and conclude this difficult chapter of her life with the utmost dignity as she could. Today, the official decree was finalized. Once more, Amy Roloff is a single woman. She is distraught and devastated, but she is also one of the most resilient women I have ever encountered, according to a friend. She is concentrating on her grandchildren and daughters. She cherishes them. She is relying on her religious beliefs. She will overcome this. She is a survivor. Ironically, the farm she abandoned for Chris is now the refuge she returns to for solace, seeking solace in the familiar fields and the affection of her family. The absurdity is heartbreaking. The other woman and the new engagement. And what about Chris Marek, the individual who facilitated this web of deception? He has promptly progressed. In reality, he was never required to do so. Chris and Sarah are now officially engaged to be married, as our sources have confirmed. Everyone has been taken aback by the rapidity of the engagement. However, it is not startling to those who are aware of the actual timeline. His ultimate objective was consistently this. It appears that the marriage to Amy was solely a stepping stone, a public performance that he was compelled to endure. According to a former colleague, it is without remorse. He is already organizing another wedding, despite the fact that the divorce documents have scarcely dried. He is attempting to persuade the audience that he and Amy merely drifted apart, that it was a mutual decision. He is endeavoring to safeguard his public image. However, the reality is that he is a swindle artist who has the ability to break the heart of a kind woman. Chris is reportedly arranging a modest private ceremony that will be conducted in a location that is not visible to the Little People Big World audience. He is eager to commence his real existence with the woman he decided upon years ago. He issued a concise statement through his attorneys, stating, "I will always treasure the memories I shared with Amy. Regrettably, our courses have diverged. I extend my fondest wishes to her for the future. I am now requesting privacy as I continue to progress in my life. The term privacy is false after years of living a deception in private and years of living his life on a television show. Therefore, what is the implication of this for Amy Roloff? She is indeed distressed. It leaves her feeling betrayed, but it does not leave her devastated. The males in Amy Roloff's life have never defined her narrative. Her resilience has been the defining characteristic. We observed it as she traversed a world that was not designed for her. Amy Roloff's narrative does not conclude with this. It is the commencement of a new, unwritten chapter, a chapter that will be defined by her own fortitude, courage, and unwavering spirit, rather than by a man's betrayal. A friend advised, do not shed tears for Amy. Encourage her. She has traversed the depths of purgatory and back, yet she continues to endure. She is a symbol of fortitude. What is the purpose of this entire ordeal? It is yet another overwhelming obstacle that she has encountered. Amy Roloff is adept at managing titans, as we are aware. Amy Roloff has achieved widespread recognition as a result of her numerous publications, her successful reality program Little People Big World, and her other accomplishments. She has been preoccupied with documenting her success on social media and preparing up a storm, as her marriage to Marek had recently been 1 year old. Furthermore, this does not even begin to address the tension within the Roloff family and the turmoil that has arisen in connection with the sale of the farm. Fans are anxious to receive an update on Amy's health due to her numerous current commitments. As viewers are aware, Amy frequently encounters the medical obstacles that are linked to her achondroplasia dwarfism. Nevertheless, there is a growing apprehension among many that Amy may be experiencing a more severe condition than the typical ailments she encounters. Some individuals have even suggested that she may have passed away. So there is no need for concern. We have thoroughly investigated these allegations. No, Amy Roloff is still alive. The aforementioned videos are merely a small sample of the numerous ones that have gone viral, circulating allegations that Amy has cancer. It appears to be nothing more than sensationalism, as we have not discovered any evidence online or on Amy's social media accounts to substantiate these claims. Despite Amy's recent ailment, which is a sinus infection, it is easily treatable. There is no cause for alarm. Amy revealed in an Instagram post on December 10th that she had been battling a severe sus cold for the past 3 weeks. However, she expressed confidence that she was on the mend. She then stated that she was eventually able to take Daisy for a walk, as the weather in Northwest Oregon was not as dismal and chilly as it had been. Amy has maintained her social media presence since that time, sharing photographs and videos of her culinary creations. 5 days ago, she conducted a live video on Instagram to address all aspects of Christmas, thereby demonstrating that she is still very much alive and well. We are pleased to learn that Amy's condition has improved in time for the festivities. Amy Roloff departed last season due to her disappointment with Matt Roloff's decisions concerning Roloff Farms. Amy and Matt divorced after a 30-year union. The progression of their lives was the primary focus of season 25. Amy recently disclosed on Instagram stories that she has been experiencing a lack of motivation. She has not had a pleasant year in 2023. The actress from Little People, Big World has been managing Zach Roloff's health issues and housing uncertainty, all while maintaining her popularity with her admirers. Amy shared a candid account of her emotions during an Instagram Live on March 23, 2023, indicating that the tension had a significant impact on her. Amy stated, "Today is a dreary, overcast day," as she stood in front of her hair color salon. "I am apprehensive. I am perplexed as to why I have been so demotivated for the final 3 weeks of March. A haircut is a haircut, and holy cow, I feel like I am capable of anything. I am assured of my capabilities and will exert my utmost effort regardless of the circumstances. I trust that today is going well for all of you as I am having a greater day than you. Keep yourself in good health." Despite the fact that Amy was candid about her emotions, she and Marek were able to enjoy themselves. They traveled to Poning's hideout on their motorcycles, which is a picturesque outdoor location that is perfect for relaxation and exploration. Amy Roloff acquired a residence that was situated only 15 minutes from Roloff Farms after departing the farmstead. At present, she and Chris Marek are in the process of searching for a new residence. The Little People, Big World matriarch, conveyed her desire for increased personal space with her companion during her January 2023 Instagram Live. Amy stated that Chris and I will continue to pursue a location that we are interested in relocating to. I previously mentioned the possibility of a marginally larger parcel of land or living quarters. Consequently, I am uncertain. Amy is presently in the process of searching for a new residence, but she has not yet discovered one. She shared a post on Instagram stories in March 2023, stating, "We are currently in the process of exploring property options." She observed that the property they were interested in had already been marked as pending due to its location and price. Things tend to sell rapidly when the location, price, and other factors are all in their proper position. Amy's present residence and Roloff Farms are no longer hers. Her divorce settlement included the repatriation of all of her assets to Matt Roloff. Amy expressed her remorse regarding Matt's decision to sell Roloff Farms in Season 24 of Little People, Big World. During the season, she stated, "It was difficult for me to leave the farm. I sincerely aspired to either negotiate with the two individuals or have this land returned to me. This is the primary reason I vacated the farm, and it is a source of sadness for me. Is it possible that I could have selected alternatives? The likelihood is high. Therefore, I would have rescued Matt and then turned around to inquire, 'Oh, kid, how can we make this work?' Additionally, I was not involved in that matter for an extended period. It will be disheartening." Audrey and Jeremy Roloff, the stars of Little People, Big World, may be departing the program. However, their voyage as a married couple is only beginning. The Roloffs exclusively shared the cover art for their upcoming book, A Love Letter Life, Pursue Creatively, Date Intentionally, Love Faithfully, with People on Tuesday. We are of the opinion that each individual possesses a distinctive love narrative, and we are highly enthusiastic about encouraging individuals to pursue their own love story. Jeremy informs People that we wish for readers to prepare for their marriage in a manner that exceeds the day of their wedding. I believe that social media can create illusions, which is why Audrey and I aspire for readers to conclude that our dating relationship was not flawless, and that we are not flawless. Our struggles served as a source of learning, and we emerged more resilient. According to the press release, the book will be available for purchase in April 2019 and will disclose the candid, previously unpublished anecdotes from the author's personal dating experiences in order to assist readers in their pursuit of love. The Roloffs, who are co-founders of Beating 50%, a marriage ministry that is dedicated to the revitalization of covenant marriages, have been married for nearly 4 years. They have a daughter named Ember who is 11 months old. Audrey anticipates that individuals will be taken aback by the extent to which they are unaware of our love story. It was exceedingly challenging for us to sustain a long-distance relationship. We engaged in this activity for 3 years, and in the book we detail the origins of the situation and the methods by which we persevered, Jeremy explains. Audrey nearly terminated our love tale. We recount that narrative, and upon rereading it, I was overcome with emotion. There are also 2 other extremely challenging instances that were significant learning curves and challenges outside of long distance. Audrey elucidates that the love letters that Jeremy composed for her during their most challenging periods facilitated their ability to be inventive and original in their love narrative. The title of the book was also inspired by the love notes, and the authors hope that it will provide comfort to readers regardless of their relationship status. Audrey explains that one of the factors that contributes to their successful marriage is their realization that pursuing and courting do not have to cease once they are married. Our book's subtitle is Love Faithfully, Date Intentionally, and Pursue Creatively. We believe that all 3 of these statements are valid both before and after marriage. She further states, "It is of the utmost importance to us to persist in our pursuit of marriage, to continue to seek out ways in which we can love one another, even when it is inconvenient or painful." One of the most significant adjustments for the couple was their recent decision to depart from Little People, Big World. For nearly 15 years, Jeremy has appeared on the program with his family. It is my belief that after 15 years of engaging in a particular activity, an individual reaches a point where they begin to contemplate the duration of their commitment. Therefore, 2 years ago, I posed that inquiry to myself, he elaborates. Jeremy announced on July 10th that he would not be returning to the program, which has been broadcast on TLC for 17 seasons, after praying and contemplating the possibility with his family. Jeremy clarifies that his family was empathetic and overwhelmingly supportive of his decision. It was almost monotonous, you know? In addition, he states, "You must eventually construct something that you are pleased of. The show was not constructed by me, and I am not advocating that you must construct something in order to feel pride. Rather, it completed its intended lifespan. I believe that the present moment is an excellent opportunity to depart." The couple has relished the opportunity to spend time with their infant daughter, Ember, who is on the brink of walking. Audrey has stated that the initial instance of Ember's laughter is one of their most cherished memories. According to her, the initial experience of hearing your baby's delight is quite astounding. Her chuckle remains a source of joy for us to this day. We are fond of her petite expression. Additionally, they are not concluding their efforts with Ember. Audrey affirms, "Jer and I are undoubtedly interested in having additional children. We have never really assigned a numerical value to it. Rather, we intend to address each one individually. From the outset, we have consistently expressed our desire for a large family." Jeremy quips that it would be sufficient to load a Sprinter van. In addition to expanding their family, they also intend to acquire land or the family property. In terms of their professional endeavors, Jeremy clarifies that their primary objective is to continue to engage with others. He elaborates, "Our objective is to motivate love stories. They intend to continue their collaboration with Beating 50% and anticipate the commencement of a podcast in the near future." The Roloffs have inked a 3-book contract with Zondervan, the first of which is A Love Letter Life. "We are currently experiencing a period of, wow, what do we want our life story to be about?" Jeremy further explains, "Our love story is so closely linked to that, it is a significant part of the inspiration for this book."